Creativity is combining two things that don't belong together.
Like, do your best to just follow your own interests. Go down a rabbit hole of searching those interests rather than just consuming whatever's fed to you on the front page.
When you take from one source, that's plagiarism. When you take from multiple sources, we call that research.
DIY.
DIYers, you gotta love it when a video is right on time. Shout out to Jake Frew, a YouTuber. He has a video called Consume Like an Artist. This video is showing you pretty much a cinematic guide, is I think the best way to describe it, of how to consume content as an independent artist so that it inspires you and not drain you. Because you and I know this device right here, these iPhones or whatever it is that you have, can easily go from a device that we use as a tool to help us grow our business to easily being one of the most draining things that we have at arm's reach. With that said, this video very brilliantly puts it together. There's some really good points we can pull from it. Check it out.
There's an unseen force in the world that will do everything in its power to rob you of any creative idea left in your brain. It's gone by many names. Primetime TV, pop culture, top 40, or most recently, the algorithm. Which, hey, if you just want to be spoon-fed the same normie garbage that everyone else on the planet is watching, go for it. But if you care about creativity, if you want to make things that aren't just photocopies, you have to consume with caution. You've got to start consuming like an artist. Did you know that when a garden or a farm has just one single crop, one single species of plant, it's far more susceptible to pests and disease than a garden or farm that has a diverse spread of species? And man, if that isn't the most perfect analogy for what happens to your own artwork if you're not diversifying the content you consume.
Oof, he starts it off with a bar. Can we plant this here for a second? One of the things that I've noticed in doing all these reaction videos to all these new stories coming up with hip hop and the direction of music and how some people tend to feel like the music is getting stale, at least on a mainstream level. The one thing that I see as being common amongst all the criticism is it feels uninspired. It feels like it's all being motivated, I should say, by the same source, the same style of music being recycled over and over and over and over again.
On YouTube in particular, if this is the format, the medium that you want to create, you have to consume things outside of YouTube. This platform is already so ridden with recycled and regurgitated content that if you just draw inspiration from places outside of YouTube, you'll have such a massive leg up to stand out from the noise. See good films. Go to your local independent theater. Go to film festivals. But beyond that, man, go to art museums, go see a musical or a stand-up comedy show, listen to music from different time periods and from all over the world. There's just this endless well of human creativity out there, and I think so often we find ourselves just like drinking from these muddy surface puddles that are really just the spillover from the actual well of human art. This is all something that I'm definitely actively working on, and I'm kind of like a baby Ninja Turtle that just had the ooze spilled on me, but thankfully I have a friend who's like the master splinter of all of this.
Of the content that we've been creating, talking about the direction of where the music industry is going and the people who think that I'm turning into, call me now, Cleo Curtis, I'm not doing anything that is anything new. The only thing that I am doing that I think may separate me from my peers when it comes to understanding the direction of where things may be going in this industry, this business of music, is the fact that I'm looking at the world around, outside of just the music industry. It is really easy to be so engulfed in this environment that you don't look at the world outside of you and see, oh, direct-to-consumer is popular in this environment. Oh, delivering a product in this way is actually very common in this environment. So I think getting yourself outside the space can definitely spark some creativity, not just in your music, but also in your business. I think it's important.
One time I heard a quote that just said creativity is combining two things that don't belong together. That's all it is. And I feel like that unlocked everything I've ever done. Man, that's such a simple prescription for being a creative person, is just finding these two things that have no business being like fused together, and then finding some weird thing to like tie it together. And you look like this big creative genius because you just took this very simple formula. Like, let me tell you a story, okay?
Before he gets into that story, you know what that made me think of? Folks that come to my beat critique, song critique streams we do every Monday, and they tell me, "Hey, Curtis, you're not ready for this song. It's a new genre, my boy. You ain't never heard nothing like this. It's called RZA Mania. You ain't never heard of that." And then it'd just be like a rage beat, you know what I'm saying, with Travis Scott ad-libs and fast trap drums. And it's like, yeah, we've definitely, you just packaged it a different way. And I think that sometimes that same thing that he's talking about, or what makes genius or makes creativity appear genius, can be the same reason why people be drinking their own Kool-Aid and think they're more genius than what they are. And it's like, I'm a visionary. It's really Steve Jobs of me. Like, calm down.
I went to this like co-op like preschool thing, and we were doing the thing where you build the tallest tower out of marshmallows and toothpicks, and it was like my team versus some other team, and we were like neck and neck basically until the end, when one of the other ding dongs on the other team went into the other room and got a pencil and put the pencil on the last like marshmallow tower. And then I was like, that's cheating, you can't put a pen, that's way bigger than a toothpick. And the teacher was like, oh, that's a lesson in life, you gotta be resourceful or whatever. And so they won. And sometimes I think, like, as far as content consumption goes, it's kind of like looking for the pencil in the other room. It feels like cheating because it's like, you can't do that, we're all working with marshmallows and toothpicks. But it's like, it's fair game, you might as well just do it. And so the moral of the story is like, find something that feels different, find something that is different, like put it where it doesn't belong, and like people would think you're really smart.
If that don't inspire nothing else, look.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
If that don't inspire nothing else, let that inspire you to launch on your unorthodox ideas. Nobody has to know about it. It doesn't even have to be something that you talk about or that works in the general public. Just go do those things. Matter of fact, I think you should put yourself on a try some shit diet every week. I think you should try some shit every week. Whether you're someone who creates songs, whether you're someone who makes beats, try some shit. Because if you leave yourself only to do the things you're already familiar with, you're going to repeat the same art over and over and over again. But those try some shit moments where you allow yourself to be just like this little kid right here, there's a reason why kids are the most creative creatures on earth. You cannot tell a kid, if he says, I want to fly from this house to the next house, you can't convince him otherwise that he can't fly.
You're just not, though. You're dumb. You don't know shit. You're a preschooler with a pencil.
I want to share a huge pet peeve of mine that's kind of an analogy for a broader idea, and that's Spotify Discover Weekly. If we're being honest, you're not discovering anything. If anything, you're just getting these adjacent recommendations that are almost just clones of the stuff that you already listened to, which sometimes is great. Sometimes you want more of the same, but in my mind, that's not discovery. Discovery is finding music that's just completely different than what you already listened to. I mean, the story's the same across any platform with an algorithm. Algorithms are horrible at allowing discovery of really new, different things. They're really good at just recommending you what's very similar to what you're already interested in, or recommending you things that the masses are watching. I think it's really important to be aware of replacing the algorithm with yourself. Like, do your best to just follow your own interests, go down a rabbit hole of searching those interests rather than just consuming whatever's fed to you on the front page.
Great points.
Everything is inspired by something. Like, there's very little original creativity that's completely out of a vacuum, just something brand new, nothing's done before. If there's something you like, it probably was funneled down from something else, and usually that thing is pretty obscure. So I'll watch an interview with a director or with a producer or with a cinematographer, and they'll be like, this part of this movie was based off of this thing that I saw, which was this one movie. And then I'll find that movie, and then I'll watch that, and then that introduces you to a new director.
Sometimes the comeback is quieter than the exit. Extended Warranty isn't just another album drop. It's the sound of dedication, crafted right here in the heart of my home. It's where I rap, produce, mix, master, and even perform shows. It's kind of like my personal Amazon for art directly to you. An extended warranty, every track, especially favorites like I told my wife. I haven't told my wife I want to rap again. Stand as a chapter of renewal at 39 years of age. This, of course, is my promise to you, this craft, after sharing 9 years of knowledge on YouTube. Now I'm channeling all that energy back into music. And as you know, this means no streaming platforms. Just us. And to my supporters, this music, this vision, this success, it's alive because of you. Here's to the art that fuels us, the journeys we share, and the revolution that is just getting started. Get your exclusive copy of Extended Warranty at CurtisKing.com.
Come on now. Hold on. Park it there. I'm sure that many of my peers that are here right now, you do the same exact thing, in that it's not just about studying the greats. It's not about just studying the people that you already look up to. It's also about going deeper below the surface of the people that they expose you to. 3 Stacks, Andre 3000, one of my favorite rappers coming up. I wanted to know who his influences were. So if he said his influences were Jimi Hendrix, if he said his influences were Q-Tip, I was already familiar with Q-Tip, but it made me look at Q-Tip a little bit different, because I was like, lyrically, they didn't seem to be the same, but the things that he was championing, the things that he said, man, he's one of the coldest to ever do it. It made me want to study him as an artist from a different angle. Like, maybe I didn't see the genius in this as the person that is one of my favorite rappers saw. It's dope that you have the ability to copy or even create a better wave than your favorite artist that you're studying. But that only makes you a watered down version of them at best, because they are them and you are you. If you want to figure out even the direction maybe they haven't gone or wouldn't dare to go, see who they're inspired by and go seek the same information they're getting, and allow you, the different person, to interpret it a different way and create a different art because of that. You want to know why certain collaborations happen, and it just seems like, damn, why in the hell did these collaborations happen? It's because they probably have someone in common that they're both studying, and that was the common place for them to come together in the first place.
You look up that director, and then you figure out what they were interested in, and it's like this chain. It's this. If you can really easily follow the chain of inspiration. Generally, if you do enough digging, that title sequence at the end of movies, you're always just like, why is this even here? No one cares. It's like a bunch of like, why are they even mentioned? They're just basically in a box somewhere behind a computer in a cubicle, and old man Disney's standing over them with a whip saying, "More toys in the Toy Story movie." But they all have tastes, and their taste is what made Toy Story in the first place. Who made Toy Story? You don't know. Dude, who made Toy Story? Who's the director of Toy Story? Nobody knows.
Damn.
I don't know. But if Toy Story was my business, I would find out. I would find out who named Lotso. I would find out.
I understand his point. I get his point. It's really easy to just stop at the surface of the things that inspire you. It's really easy to just sit there and be in amazement and in awe. But you know what I've noticed? When you study the things that inspire you, the people that inspire you, and you see all the different sources that they've pulled from, it makes them look just a little less shiny in the light. Right? It kind of exposes, oh, that's natural, why you became who you became. When you combine these elements, it starts to look like, oh, yeah, I hear a little bit of this person in your singing voice. I hear a little bit of this person in your style of playing the piano. You're able to look at them and say, oh, you're just like me in that you're a product of all the things that you've been inspired from. You're just not taking from one source. When you take from one source, that's plagiarism. When you take from multiple sources, we call that research. Try to lean on the research so you don't get in trouble.
There's a very good reason why the shower seems to be this place where you're always hit with creative inspiration or epiphanies or random ideas. It's just one of very few times in the day when we're not just bombarded with information and noise. Boredom is such an important thing to have in your life, but it feels like it just keeps getting more and more difficult to experience. I think my biggest crutch is podcasts. Like, podcasts are interesting because on the spectrum of like junk food content versus valuable content, to me it feels far more valuable. They're usually pretty educational or inspirational or really interesting. But for me, I had gotten to a point where if there was any quiet moment in my day, I was turning on a podcast. Making a conscious effort to allow silence in your life is so valuable for your brain to be able to just process things in the background, to come up with creative ideas. It's incredible how our brain really does the work for us if we just let it have some room to breathe.
That is not a lesson they're going to teach us in hip-hop, which is why I'm diversifying my content offering and I'm sharing this with my friends. He is speaking the truth. He is not talking to rappers, but definitely he talking to my rapping ass. He talking to my producing self. Like, this is so important to find those times of silence, to give your brain time to catch up. And I know it's not all your fault. I know it's not all our fault. We're bombarded by so many different things. Like even today, I'm pretty sure I got the wheels rolling for some of y'all when it comes to direct to consumer. Now you're like, oh, now I got to figure out how to do this. Now I got to figure out how to do this. Now I got to figure it out. And it's like the reality of it is there's probably only one thing right now you need to do. I don't know what that one thing is, but it's only one thing that you have to do. With that said, it's probably important that as you get all this new information, that you do the thing that is so difficult for everybody else around you, your peers included. Take a second in silence and let your brain catch up to all of the onslaught of information it's been receiving. When I tell you, I get song ideas, production ideas all the damn time. I get ideas for my business because of that silent time.
And that definitely doesn't mean you have to just like sit in a chair every day and stare at the wall. I think it just can mean like, if you're driving somewhere, try driving in silence. If you're at a bus stop or a restaurant, don't look at your phone anytime it's quiet or awkward. Take that time to just look around or to stare into oblivion. It's just far too easy to pacify ourselves with whatever content's fed to us, whatever mindless noise we can listen to. And meanwhile, the real artists are blocking that out, allowing some silence and drawing from this well of real life inspiration. Again, this is all something that I am actively working on.
Same.
And I think we'll be working on the rest of my life. So if there's any additional things that help you or platforms you use that inspire you, I'd love to hear anything.
So DIYers, I think that there's going to be studies and think pieces about our era of content creation, our era of independent artists, our era of trying to strike a balance so that we can see success in our independence. There's going to be a lot of movies in about 20, 30 years, a lot of books that are written about this time. What I'm trying to do, and I'm speaking very, very vulnerable when I say this, is that I'm trying to at least start off with being more conscious about asking myself, why are we doing this? That simple question is helping me. And so many moments where I'm just falling down the rabbit hole. But how many times I'm like, all right, go to this person's profile and go watch their video because you're going to react to it. I didn't jump on Instagram and then all of a sudden I get to the Reels page and then I'll go through 4 or 5 different Reels and I'm like, what the hell did I even come here for again? So I'm trying to consciously ask myself, wait. Before we watch this, why are we doing this? What are we doing here? The interesting thing about the mind that I've always said is that it's very different when you have injuries on your body. Like say if you get a broken arm, you get a cast, they tell you you'll be back in action 6 to 8 weeks. But when you have injuries of the brain, how do you measure where you're at in terms of the spectrum of healing? Where are you at? How do you measure that? It's probably important that if you don't have a system to measure it, that you take extra care of that part of yourself. So if you're gonna consume, what that one stripper say on Players Club, make the money, don't let the money make you. I'm pretty sure that if Diamond had an updated version of that, she'd probably say, make the content, don't let the content make you. I don't know. That's just my thoughts, DIYers. Let me know what y'all think. DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.